Hey guys, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are good. It's another episode of DY Podcast, and I remain your host, Arulu Ashimbar. And today I have something special for you guys. So, time and chance.
Time and Charles.
Time and Charles. That's fantastic. So I have Charles Isidi in the house today. One of my best guys in this life, one of my brothers, and it's just beautiful actually that he is here and we can record this because there's so many conversations that I have with so many people that I think that I should just be recording everything. But Charles is one he's top 2, top 1. That I think I should just be recording every conversation we have because he's very perceptive, very original, very humane. My guy. Yeah. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about life generally. But let Charles introduce himself.
Hey everyone, I am Charles. Of course, I mean, husband of one, actually dad of one.
He has gone ahead of us.
Yeah, it's actually been an exciting journey in life. Ups, downs, uncertainties and everything in between. And I guess that much of what we want to talk about today is how you anchor your life, right, in the face of in the face of everything that goes on every day, and in the face of false perceptions actually that a lot of people can sometimes misconstrue as true. Yeah.
Yes, and to be honest, I think this conversation is something that we have very often on the podcast. Because one thing I tell people a lot when it comes to Divide podcast, I want Divide to be that podcast that wakes you up that sees you, because it's not about personal branding.
Yeah.
It's not about
you have quite the anger against
it's not about LinkedIn posts. It's just about life. It's not about Instagram vacationing or relationshiping the way that we think relationships are. But it's just about life is in its raw form, because the truth is our lives are realities. Our lives are not ideas.
Yes.
Or perfectly cut different video clips from uni to first job to it's not like that.
It's not a curated experience.
It's not a curated experience. Life is life. And we live it.
Actually pretty much.
Yeah, and we actually live it when we're also done. So yes.
I don't like you on some days. I'm not even lying.
So let's do 2 dads. You can imagine what will flow. So yes.
Oh my god.
Joshua is inside, he's sleeping. I hope that he doesn't get too excited and join the flow of thoughts. But yes, so Charles, can you introduce yourself? I can introduce you, but in terms of your hype session.
Okay, so I'm Charles. I think of myself primarily as a storyteller. I feel like when you come into this world, everybody, maybe that is the experience for me, but everybody seems to carry on a burden, right? And for me, that burden is stories. And so for what I found is that has channeled everything I do, right? So from creative writing in my early days to marketing and communications to growth and everything in between, just helping brands tell the right stories that help them grow, right? In multiple formats at multiple times in my life, that has been my journey, right? Conceptualizing ideas, making sure that the average person gets it and can feel some sort of deep relationship with a brand, a person. That has been my crux of my life, and that has been the crux of my life. And I don't think that that's going to change anytime soon, right? Yeah. So maybe we'll talk about burdens, right?
Makes sense. Yeah. So my name is Ore. I'm the host. My burden is to I don't know what body in that way that I put it. But yeah, and I think you're actually a very fantastic storyteller, very unique storyteller. Because the thing about stories is that stories are relatable. Stories have to be relatable for them to be powerful.
Exactly.
So
exactly. They have to connect deeply.
They have to connect deeply,
Yeah.
and for it to connect deeply, it needs to be relatable. And so if you lie, if you tell a story that is, but there are stories that are aspirational,
yes,
that are lies. So it's I aspire to something, and I tell you what I'm aspiring to, and you aspire to it. So you also believe that this is my reality because I'm telling you an aspirational story for you, and you'll be inspired by what I'm aspiring to.
But how you know that? Something I've come to even understand is that stories have like multiple purposes. I mean, the reason why we are doing this is we get a sense that some people are playing on other people's timelines and playing on other people's stuffs, right? And so what we want to do is say, hey, get off, right? Step off responsibilities and things, or even ideas that are going to destroy you in a sense. It's just the same way the Bible actually talks about being unequally yoked, right? So some people don't know that this is not the, sorry to use this word again, burden I should be carrying, right? This is not my size. Also, this is not the idea I should be paired with at this time as I carry this, right? And so it is that general journey of what ideas should I carry, right? What people should I carry this idea with, right? How do I make sure that what I see is reality, right? And
what burdens of others should I consume?
Exactly. And actually, yes. Like, what burdens am I seeing people carry that sometimes I can feel should be mine because I feel like this burden looks good on them, right? So maybe it is someone who is running an international fashion brand, and you suddenly think, I should do that too, right? But at the end of the day, you realize that person has had years of context. You don't.
A journey that
yes, right. Yeah. And so maybe the outcome of a lot of this is for us to quiet our hearts to what really matters for us, right? At any given time in our journeys. Yeah.
That's very succinct.
Thank you.
Yes, so I think you perfectly articulated what is the focus of the conversation. And we live in this data era where everybody's on the web, everybody's on social media, everybody's telling stories. I think at the core of it, people don't realize that social media is a storytelling platform.
Yes.
Like, people tell whatever narrative, whatever they want to highlight, whatever they want to hide, whatever they want to amplify. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing that everybody is doing. Some people have different values. So some people will never say something that did not happen on social media. Some people will say
make things up.
Yeah. And in this age, we see that people are burdened with different. Everybody feels. So there's something that I think people forget. When people see people that are making progress, or people that are focused on whatever job or whatever work, like now somebody sees Isidi, or somebody sees Ololuwaseun, and person says like, these guys are living their best life
because we never really share like the director's cut.
Yes, no.
Exactly.
And we even try to intentionally share information to, because when you've made some progress or achieved some success in life, you can either humanify yourself or you can
make yourself a god.
A god. It's just one of two choices that you can make. You can either never tell people about the bad days or tell people about how there is still, similar to someone that hasn't achieved as much, it's still the same experience, because there is the temptation to do the comparison with other people in the same league or even higher leagues, and people that you aspire to replicating their success, and you can still have the same experience. So the truth is, at the end of the day, we are all experiencing the same thing, even though people might think that this person is in a better place compared to me. But the truth is,
or like you'll just have this feeling that, oh, this person is not playing in the same turf as me, right? And that can be the truth. So I would evolve this conversation a bit. About, I think earlier this year or late last year, I was feeling some bouts of envy, right? Something I've learned to do recently is to name my emotions, however ugly actually they look, right, or they feel, right?
So that you're true to yourself.
Yes, so I'm true to myself. I'm not trying to treat myself as if, oh, there's no bout of ugliness in me or ugly emotions. So ugliness is not the same thing as ugly emotions, right? So I keep some of these emotions as part of who I am, but also at arm's length when they want to define my identity. Right? And so,
because my experience is not my identity.
Yes. And so I remember I was feeling, bouts of envy, right? I would later come to name it as envy. So I was in a car ride with my pastor, and one of the things that has really helped me in the past 2 years is being someone that's doing my best to be radically honest about everything I'm feeling, right? I mean, I woke up this morning and I was feeling anxious, and I asked you to actually pray for me, right? And so I like being open about how I am feeling, especially with people who understand, right, and are able to help, has actually been a great part of my process. And I remember him saying, Charles, for every time you're looking at someone else's journey, you're taking your eyes off of what God has put in your hands. And he said, and I don't think that is fair to God, for you to take your eyes off the things he has put in your hands and you're looking at someone else's. What that does is you begin to feel like what God has given you is worthless, and it's worthless. Exactly. And so you begin to feel like there's something wrong with me, right? There's something wrong with what I've been given. And you see, maybe that's what Jesus Christ was trying to tell us with the parable where he gave people different talents, right? Yes. And so you see, the last guy had one, and he called the master shrewd. You see, it's a matter of how do you interpret the generosity of God? Right? So at the end of the day, right, it's a matter of, if you see the person that has given you what you have as generous, you would act in that direction, right? The, in quote, little things will become, big things. And a lot of the times we amplify what is in other people's hands unfairly to what is in ours, right?
Unfair to them too.
Yes, exactly. And so part of that conversation, I remember leaving that conversation with Pastor Benro, right? And
amazing pastor.
Yes, he is. And sometimes, like when he had said it, it was so simple. And so I thought, it can't change my life if it is this simple.
Yeah, it needs to be
sophisticated
and ground.
And so I remembered just spending weeks and months thinking about it. And really, what happened to me over the course of 1 month was I turned my eyes back to what God had actually given me, right? And this is a journey for everybody. Sometimes people ignore that it takes a journey to take your eyes off people's things, people's progress, and begin to focus on yours. Yeah.
And there's even the doing yours as you focus on others.
Yes. And so
with every progress you make, you weigh it to that of others. And somehow in this generation we have convinced ourselves that is how we stay motivated. So it's like we draw inspiration from other people.
Yes.
But that leaves a net negative at every junction.
At every point, yes.
Because in truth, we're talking about video footage, raw footage, edited footage. You are comparing your raw footage
to somebody's best life.
Final draft.
Yeah, exactly.
That the person has chosen to share because he has approved and cut out all the things he needs to cut out, or decided what he should share and should not share because he doesn't owe the whole his own story. But your own life is a raw footage.
Yes.
And everybody only lives a raw footage.
Yes.
And that's why we cannot compare ourselves with each other because we're not comparing two raw files.
Exactly.
Even from your perspective to mine, and from my perspective to yours, I'm comparing a raw with edited. You are comparing a raw with edited.
Yeah.
So we can only appreciate our own lives because we have the most context of it.
Yeah. So, additionally, I go running sometimes on the weekends. Maybe I'll provide better context. I go walking, right, on the weekends. So I do about 10 to 15 kilometers.
How do you guys do that? I always hear you.
Yeah. So if you've done a crazy week, you want to quiet out the noise in your head, right? And so, like, that's one of the ways that I get noise actually out of my head. And so when I walk long distances, I remember one particular scenario. So on the route I take on the weekends, there are people who run professionally, like every weekend they run. And so I remember run. Yeah, and so I had done, I think, 4 kilometers from the house. And so I remember like just walking at my own pace, and a lady comes and she breezes past running. So I start speed walking.
Should I increase my pace?
Yeah, like so I felt and then the next thing, a guy runs past me, and I'm like, there has to be something wrong with me.
There's a race.
Yeah.
Only race.
Instantly I stop now. Right. So instantly I get into this feeling that my walk is invalid now. I need to run. And guess what? I begin increasing my pace. Fam, in 5 minutes I begin running. And guess what? By the time I hit the 15-kilometer mark, the guy and the lady just goes into their street. And guess what? I have to walk another 15 kilometers
to go back. Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God.
So that day I did about 30 kilometers on another person's race.
That you did not plan to.
Exactly. And so the next time I had to walk, even till now, I would increase my pace occasionally due to pressure. And that's what life does, right? I would increase my pace. But at the end of the day, I know that at the 7 to 8 kilometer mark, I must begin to turn back, whether they don't gap me or not, right? And so at the end of the day, also looking at your feet, and I think that maybe this might be helpful for anyone. So there's this imbalance thing called vertigo, right? Where your eyes cannot track your success if you are not looking at your feet. Yeah. So, of course, you learned how to drive in the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that there was a time when you had to look at your feet
Your
actually
feet
to
as-
be
yeah.
sure that, oh, I'm actually stepping on the
actually-
right things, right?
Yeah.
For lots of people, I think looking at your feet might just be helpful at getting balance, better balance. Okay, I'm still doing this right, you know, and all that stuff. My son is 3 years old. I didn't, right? I didn't know how many staircases we had, like how many steps
We had
to get to the house. Until one day I realized that every time he has to climb the staircase, he counts. He goes 1, 2, and then I realized that the amount of stairs to the house is about 21. Guess what? I never knew that. I always thought this was light work, right? Yeah.
Didn't count it.
But for him, this was a journey. And he was counting every single one. And I realized that until we look at our feet, until we count our own steps, you will never realize that what you are doing isn't exactly light work.
True.
Exactly.
True. True. Because the truth is that you're tagging as light work, fatigue will still fail. You
Yes.
still feel that fatigue,
Yes.
even though you think that
Yes.
you're not doing
Yes.
anymore.
Yes.
Because when fatigue comes,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't label it fatigue, you set it.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you say this is fatigue from this or that,
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah. You lift some weights, right?
yeah, from time to time. See, I didn't say that. He said
Said
it.
it.
Do you get? I just want to put that out there. So when I tell
Ridiculous
people,
guy.
they don't believe. But yeah, he said it, and I'll be as on record. Yes, I'm recording. So yes, it's definitely on record. So yeah, and honestly, what he said is so powerful and it's so necessary. Like that running example is perfect, because the truth is, at the end of the day, and I think I was telling someone about this. I'm like, whether or not you get to where you're aspiring to get to, what you will have for a certainty is the experience of getting to wherever you end up.
Exactly.
So whether or not you become uber rich or uber whatever, or whether or not you don't get that dream job, whether or not you get the dream job, what you will always have is the experience from where you are to wherever you're going to stop. And the truth is, in this life, we're all going to stop.
Yes, we will definitely stop.
So we should be very, very intentional about that.
Making
process.
the most count.
Yes, making the most count
of your own journey. Yes.
And not despising any place that you find yourself.
Yes.
Because if you despise the place that you find yourself, you would ascribe too much value to what you think. When you're not get to this place, I would feel this setting.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to that place, you feel a hollowness.
You're right.
You ascribe too much to that next step. And when that next step comes, you'll be even more hollow than you were before. And that's why, like for instance, I tell people that Nigeria will never reduce. I think I told you this too.
Yes, actually on our drive back home.
Nigeria will never reduce the work I've done when we create. Doesn't matter how tough the terrain gets, doesn't matter how difficult revenue pushing or whatever it is. At the end of the day, every day, I would count my wins by the milestone or mileage that we've made compared to when we started.
That's good.
So when I say, oh my God, my people, they are better off. Oh my God, we've hit this milestone. It's relative to the next, to the previous, not relative to anybody else.
Thank you very much.
Anywhere, in any context. And this is how to actually
live life,
nurture the joy that you have. Because in digital age, you consume so many burdens, consume so many notes, consume so many everything of everybody.
Exactly.
That you now start to despise yours, like you rightly explained.
You know that as we go through this conversation, some of the key things I want to do is anchor some things that we are saying. Things like joy. Things like joy. So something your wife actually told me 2 days ago that lifted her spirits was the fact that someone told her, if you come out of I can't remember how she said it, but I'll reframe, right? She said, if you come out of every day with any emotion, let it be joy. Let it be joy, right?
I think Joshua is really feeling the Rema.
Right. and so for me, it was a matter of, so when she said that, I realized it was like someone mopped my head with a cold rag. It was like, this is so freeing. Why do I feel more entitled to anxiety,
negative emotions,
than being able to enjoy the positive ones in my life? Exactly. Yeah. So
and people say I'm anxious, but they don't say I'm joyful.
Yeah.
So they nurture
emotions, right? A whole lot more. So even when you begin to feel a positive emotion, you feel a need to invalidate it.
Yes.
Right? And begin to look for the closest negative emotion that you can hang on to.
I feel like acting somebody, but if you ever listen to this episode, I need you to know that this is for you. Don't. And I realize that a lot of young people, this is how they see their life.
As a bunch of
positive, they make it relative. So when they achieve something, they want to be critical about their achievements, thinking that it makes them more solid. When you achieve something, you say, I could have done better. So they feel like they are better off because they are critical. But guess what? Life will still happen to you, and life will not come with you've done well. Life will come with you are nothing. So when you achieve,
and really stab at your heart.
So when you achieve, you need to enjoy, experience, and appreciate progress.
Yes.
Rather than look at it from the perspective where I could have done better. Not that you don't even look at it from the perspective where I could have done better. There is a place for that.
There is.
But ensure that you are not, with every step you take, you don't say,
grateful.
Be grateful.
Yes.
Don't think about it from the what could have been rather than what is.
Yes.
It's so important because because of the way life is now, everybody could have been, would have been. And the reason why we are also aspirational is actually because of what we've consumed. Like our parents were definitely happier than we are now because they focused on their own life. You get, even though there was the grapevine about gist and people and what's happening, but still they focused a lot on their lives. Why? Because they did not know a lot about other people's lives.
Exactly. And I think that's a rare gift, right? So I was actually I just thought about this now, but I've always thought about it, right? My dad worked 30 years at a single company, progressed about 7 times within that role.
And the same with my dad.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The same with my mom, 26 years, the same job, progressing level 1, level 2, all the way to like 14 and 16, right, and all of that. And I realized that imagine a life where they were exposed to everybody's success.
Would you have stayed?
On a single screen, you can see, oh, this one is happening to this person. You scroll past, this one is happening to this person. He's building a multinational business. You slowly begin to actually ask yourself, is something wrong with me? And we don't easily diagnose that. And maybe I'll track back a bit. You see, there's something that I had to learn. Don't compare yourself with someone else. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Right? Yeah. And so is this so again, if you use the Nike running app, right, the guy would say on the guided runs, right, like 2-kilometer runs, right? He will say things like, the only thing that separates runners is effort.
Nice.
Effort, right? The moment you begin to wedge your, while sometimes it can be helpful to, oh, this person is in my industry, he's doing similar things, I should be doing, but you need to manage that emotion to make sure that the emotion is a challenge, not envy. It needs to be a challenge. It needs to change you.
An identity.
Not an identity, right? Exactly. And so for me, one of the things that I would want us to actually pay attention to as we go forward is anchors, right? What is our life truly anchored on? Right? 1, 2, how do we gain peace and joy in a chaotic world? Trust me, the world is not more chaotic than it was 50 years ago. We are just seeing the chaos. Like, we have the chaos in our hand. We bought the chaos as a device, right?
Yes.
And we carry it around. Something I've been telling my friends is, I don't think we are supposed to consume information on this level. I don't think the human mind was designed to consume of information, right?
About
anything,
and especially not about others.
Exactly, right. And so this insane pressure to actually keep up, right? I've been living at your house actually for the past 2 days, right? A very crazy story. When my mom died, 6 months after was when it really kicked in. So grief for me takes time. I first rationalize, and then the emotions just hit like 6 months or a year,
like a wave
after, right? And so I remember just being at home one day, and I just shut down. And guess what? For the next 3 to 4, 5 months, even the simplest sense that something had the will to do anything would depress me. Like, it's silly things like the gateman turning on the water pump downstairs. Just hearing the very fact that something can be turned on and it will function. That made me feel like, why can't I function? And literally all life was doing was, Charles, take a break. Guess what? The craziest things would upset me, like hearing bus conductors like just going alive day after day after day, day after day, like no breaks, right? And it began to make me question, am I overexposed to productivity? Am I overexposed? Yes, to activity. Am I overexposed to people doing, not because they should do, but because it's just the natural thing to. My pastor, again, actually the same pastor, right?
Like I said, amazing pastor. Shout out to Pastor Bero.
Right. He made this post actually one time. He said, do you think so? He was on his stories, and guess what? He has been doing a lot of stories recently. Fantastic. Right? Yeah. And so he said something about when you get to that point where you can stop. Sometimes it's a financial amount, or I hit $1 million, or I hit $100K dollars.
Or it's $100K naira.
Right.
Right. Don't stop there.
Right. When do you know to stop? Right. Like when can you say I can stop now? And to be honest, when I read it, I realized some people go through an eternal hum that makes them feel like a bum the whole time, right? So, for instance, if I'm not in the grind, I feel like a bum. It was Rocky Balboa, yes.
Rocky.
Yes, so a lot of people didn't watch Rocky, right? I can imagine that there is a generation now that does not know Sylvester Stallone, right? As I understand, right? And so, Rocky was asked why he. I need to find it, right? I remember making a note of it when I saw it recently, right? Give me a second to actually search and keep. No, I should just search Rocky. Yes. So it says, the intense need to prove yourself and tie your life around work is what brings the weariness, right? Why are you working so hard? Rocky asked, why are you working so hard? Rocky is asked in Rocky 1. He said, I want to go the distance so I know I am not a bum. Right? I want to go the distance so I know I'm not a bum. Stop being driven by the eternal inner murmur of self-reproach. Right? You see, sometimes there's just this eternal murmur. Oh, someone has gotten a master's. Oh, people are jackbuying. Oh, this is happening. And so, trust me, your mind, your soul will never be quiet.
Yes,
your soul will never be
still.
quiet. Yes. Your soul will never be quiet. But at points like this, you should rely on your spirit. Your soul will always have a... you know how I told you to switch off actually how we knew that we should switch off the AC, right? Because we were hearing a hum actually on the recordings, right? It's the same way. Your soul will always have a new thing to make you feel like you are not enough, right? So it would always be, this person has
what we don't have,
what I don't have, right? And then you will add it to your to-do list, your spirit, your soul to-do list. Oh, this person has a startup, they've raised $1 billion. You instantly think that, you know, I should do the same.
This person just clocked 30.
And
the person is this. What about you?
Yes, it was the same thing I was actually telling you. Right.
Side notes.
Right. So I recently clocked 32, and to be honest, you know that I felt a. Do you know that I felt a need to stop mentioning how old I was in my birthday post?
That happens to everybody as they get older.
Right?
But we remind ourselves on this channel.
Yeah.
We are older.
Yes.
And we should not
run from it. Right.
It is what it is.
Yes. And
just
so,
like when we're young. It is what it
is. Yeah. Right. And so, when I was going to post my birthday pictures this year, I wanted to just say happy birthday to you and actually write a poem to myself.
I've been seeing a lot of happy birthday to me. The person will go put the age.
Exactly. So you notice that some people over the last few years stopped holding balloons.
Balloon don't
burst.
I knew your age.
Right.
I knew your age.
Yeah. And so it is this feeling of I've not achieved. So the closest example to me was there's somebody who runs a journal, very beautiful journal. I read it, like I literally get a newsletter every week, right? And I do the judicious work of reading it. Over the past few months, they've raised about 500K. And then guess what? A few months after, the guy posts his birthday pictures and he's 32. And he's only a few months younger than I am. And I felt pressure, right? Or was it a few years ago, someone that I'm way older than gets a job and he's earning 3 times more. Pressure, right? And I slowly begin to think, is there something wrong with me? Yeah, right? Like, am I okay? Should I optimize my life for better, right? And all that.
Getting.
Yes, right. And so, I'll continue what he actually So he said, stop being driven. Oh, so this is not a Rocky here. It's actually my notes. Stop being driven by the eternal inner murmur of self-reproach. That's why we burn out. Every time God makes something, before he moves on to something else, he says, that's good. Right?
He did not say that could be better.
Thank you very much.
Exactly. Tola, Tomiwa, Tom, Toby. God did not say that could be better. He said that's good. That's the mindset. That's the mindset.
Yes.
You have to take account and pat yourself at the back as the journey goes on.
Exactly.
Obviously, God was all knowing and knew that some person will come spoiler. He knew that, but he still said this
but he still called them good.
Good.
Right?
Yes.
And so here I said, and when he gets to the end, he looks at all of it and says, very good. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like the way we should live our lives is a bunch of goods that we are humble enough to call good. Right? Call them so that at the end of your life, you can say, very good.
Yes. Should I
Yes, please.
spice it up?
Yes, please.
He did not say that was best.
Yeah.
Because best is a comparison.
Exactly.
That was good. There's a lot of besting in our time now.
Yeah.
People want to say, I'm the best
At this.
the best. So that innate comparison happens in our head.
Yes.
So when people say this could have been better, it's because there's the best in there.
And what it does is, it never gives us
the feeling.
So for me, it is the opportunity to be self-reflective about who we really are. So for instance,
I want to clap.
Yeah. Right. So actually, for instance, I've seen some people who called themselves the best at something 4 or 5 years ago. And guess what? Even though they know that there are actual learning points that they should be taking, they are not humble enough to do those learnings, or even take, like, for instance, I think of myself as great at growth, marketing, and communications and
Storytelling.
right. But do you know that over the past year, I've begun doing these simple things again, like taking a simple course on product analytics. You know, taking a simple thing like Google Analytics 4, right? You know, like just picking those simple things again and brushing it up. You see, when you think of yourself as good, or what you've done as good, as very good, without comparing it to something else, you have the humility to say, oh, I didn't plant that crop well. Let me go and uproot it, adjust the soil around it. But because you think there's a spotlight and everybody is seeing you, you are unable to do the work that it takes to unearth things that you did not do well and adjust it, right? You are unable to take a step back and say, oh, I am insufficient in, let's say,
in this area,
in graphic design,
and I can be better at it.
right? Rather than coming online to bash everybody using Canva, right?
My mouth is open.
You are actually self-aware enough to say, oh, maybe I need to learn Canva, right?
And see what
yes,
value is.
right. So you are able to see simple things and take on a posture of learning in your heart, rather than trying to
be bashmati.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. And so here it says, and that's what it means to rest, to be utterly satisfied with what has been done. Right? The only way done, right. The only way you can put your doing down is if you are satisfied with what has been done. By this I mean the only way you can, let's say, there's a reason why some parents will always feel like a bum. You know why? They can't see their child and feel like they did
a good job.
It will always be
one child outside.
It will always be, oh, that child is 11 years old and he has done spelling bee.
In fact, he has won a Grammy.
Exactly. So you will never truly put your doing down and say, okay, just like God. So God did not, if you notice, God did not say, after the first day, this will now be first day version 2. You get? Once the first day was done, he put the doing down. All he did was he created light. He didn't go back to say, this song will hot for Nigeria, right? He just assumed, or he was satisfied with his doing. And so he could let it down and say, okay, this is done, right? And then I said, there's more to us than our work. God rested, and we rest in order to honor the image of the divine in us.
Do we rest?
We don't.
We don't, because we are not done.
Right. So, you see, there's something about honoring the image of the divine in us, right? I grew up hearing stories of my great grandma, who was an Adventist, and for some reason, from those stories, I've begun to reorder what my weekend looks like. I don't do lots of work. I wake up early, but I clean around the house in a way that is joyful. I'm playing music out loud, and all of that. And it just feels like, I'll go about this as joyfully as possible and go back to bed around like 2 o'clock and all that, right? You see, until we can put our doing down and say, okay, I rest, right? Yeah. And so maybe the next part of this actually will be about joy.
Joy.
Right?
Yeah. This is so important. This is so good, and this is something that a lot of people are wrestling that they don't do, because there's this restlessness, there's this turbulence, there's this never-ending milestone. But you are the milestone.
Exactly.
You are the one.
And if you will simply just acknowledge it, that every day does not have to be a hyper burst of, boom, I've rolled out one big thing into the world, right?
And that big thing is better than everybody else's thing.
Exactly.
It's not good, it's not necessary.
And it keeps us away from actually creating or like putting out things into the world because we think that they are mid, right?
So I think we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Absolutely.
But this episode I think has been good. Ensure that you don't just experience this and do wow, oh my god, that makes so much sense, and you don't share. Please. You cook good food. Yeah. You share the good food. Don't eat the food alone.
Right.
So do copy this link and share to somebody. Because to be honest, like there were words that you said that is very core to what Divide Podcast is about, and his reflections, is self-awareness. It's just checking yourself, ensuring that you are not burnt out, burning yourself, or losing your value,
or running on another person's timeline.
All of that. So it's been a very, very, very interesting, and I dare say one of the best episodes that we've had so far. Like I always started. like I just started with. I've said that Charles is somebody that the conversations we have can, there was a way that Trevor Noah spoke about Simon Sinek. It's like whenever I talk to this guy, I'm just like, the world should hear these conversations. Exactly. That's exactly how it feels like. And I'm just happy that we actually encapsulated and recorded this. And I hope that many young people realize that your life cannot always be a treadmill. You need to get off it. You need to get off. No, don't get off the life. But you need to get off. Maybe you need to get off the life you are living in the way you are living it now.
Right now.
That is very comparing your life with other people's life to make meaning of your life. But you need to make meaning of your life in isolation of everybody else's life.
Exactly.
And this is why it's important that you...
It's important, yes.
That you actually focus on that. And Charles, I don't know, we're closing out and we just want to close out this episode. So Charles, you have the
floor. Right, yeah. So it's been a great conversation. I remember when we were chatting one time, and I called you that, hey, I'm going through a hard time, and I remember Ore just saying a couple of things, and I was thinking, did you prepare for this? Did you know I was going to ask you all these things, right? And like, I kept asking him, okay, pause. what did you just say? Please, I would love to write it down. I was literally taking notes as he was speaking. And so the feeling is mutual, right? You be with somebody in your life who is just able to say something unguarded, and you just realize that this is something that, as I said earlier, mops the inside of our head actually with like a cold cloth, right? And that's what conversations with you actually do to me, right? Thank you so much, man. Thank
you very much. I guess Divide Podcast, we are hoping that it to be a cold cloth.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about this podcast because I believe that, in truth, I feel it will be like a legacy for me. That everybody going through different seasons can always just come and take a tablet and just be like, that didn't know. Because there's so many things we've spoken about: relationship, friendship, joy, peace, and they will always be useful at different times.
Times, yes.
If you're new on Divide Podcast, currently we just got 700 plus subscribers.
Oh, that's good.
That's good. Which one?
I remember when you were still designing the logos for this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
that's good.
I'm like, if you're just joining us at the 49th, 46th episode, do know that like there are so many gems at the back, and you can always just go back to take one of those gems, because the gems are meant to be timeless, and our episodes they expire.
Yeah, I like it.
Yes,
I like it.
So, thank you very much.
NAFDAC has got nothing on us
at all. So please ensure that you take time out to listen. Ensure that you follow up Charles. Charles is active on socials from time to time.
Right?
So just follow up. He writes a lot. It's an amazing writer.
I do my best. So
do find out his content. You can imagine if this is what he's saying. Imagine what he will now write. Just think about that. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Episode.
Absolutely enjoyed this.
Do have an amazing day.
Great.